Have you ever bought fresh strawberries only to have them look like this after 2 days? Well, today I'm going to show you how to store your fresh vegetables and berries, and they are going to last up to 5 times longer in your refrigerator. The secret is vacuum sealing, and yes, you may have heard many people say, you can't vacuum seal fresh produce. You can, but it needs to go in the refrigerator. Fresh produce is not shelf stable. In order to be shelf stable, it needs to be a dry item such as pasta or dried vegetables. But when we're talking fresh vegetables and fruit, it needs to be stored in the refrigerator. But if you're just storing it in the refrigerator, why don't we just keep it in the same package? These packages have holes in them, and that allows moisture to go in and out. What you want to do is to remove the air. When you remove the air from fresh produce, it'll last longer. So instead of a few days, these strawberries will last a couple weeks. And since I'm paying $5 for a package of organic raspberries, I want them to last more than a day. The same goes with your vegetables. One of the things I like to do is mix up my salad and then have it ready in a canning jar. Not only does it stay fresher longer, but it's ready to eat anytime we want to add a vegetable to our meals. All right, let's get started. The first thing you need to do is get your equipment ready. There are a few things I do differently than when I vacuum seal dry ingredients. The first thing is I like to use small containers. You could use 1/4 pint, but honestly, I think those are a little too small. So I like to stick with a 1/2 pint or even a pint that is wide mouth. In fact, I recommend only using wide mouth when you are vacuum sealing to go in the refrigerator. When we are talking about doing a salad, though, I use my 1/2 gallon size. The next thing you're going to need is a vacuum sealer. And since we are doing jars, your vacuum sealer needs to have a port attachment. Looks like this. Usually on my Food Saver, it's in the top right corner. This is the Food Saver FM5200, and I just saw it a few hours ago in Walmart, so I know it is still available. You're also going to want the Food Saver jar sealers. This is the attachment that goes on top of the jars to plug into the port. In the past, these attachments were not included, but the last vacuum sealer that I did purchase, they were in the box. If you don't have them, you can order them off of Amazon for about $14 for both the wide mouth and the regular mouth. You're going to need the lids or flats, and you're also going to need the rings, especially since we're going to be storing this in the refrigerator. Both lids and bands can be reused over and over for vacuum sealing. All right, let's get started, and I'm going to start right away with raspberries because raspberries are by far the most fragile of all the vegetables and fruits that you can vacuum seal. Make sure that you washed all your jars in soapy hot water and you've dried them. For fruits, you do not want to wash any of your fruit before you put them in the jars. It's going to make them mushy. So you are carefully going to set each of these berries into the jar without washing. As you place them in the jar, if you have any smashed ones or leaves or thorns or anything, take them out. Don't put them in the jar. And I'm going to give this smashed one to one of my chickens. Unlike dried items, you don't want to thump it on your counter or try to get it to settle to the bottom. That's only going to smash the ones on the bottom. So just very gently set them in there and make sure that they are below the level where the lid is going to go. At this point, what I do is I run my hand across the rim, make sure there's no crumbs or raspberries pieces, anything on it, and put my flat on top. Now you're going to attach that jar sealer, and it's a lot more difficult when you're dealing with a tiny jar, especially to get it on straight. And not only is it difficult to get it on, it's very difficult to get it back off. The next step is to plug in this port in the very top of the jar sealer attachment. Make sure it's in there firm. Then turn on your vacuum sealer. And even though it is a moist food, you're going to keep it on dry. Moist is more if you are marinating. So keep it on dry and hit accessory. heard it cling. And it will shut off automatically when it has removed the air. Next, you remove the port and remove the jar sealer, which is very difficult. I'm going to have to use 2 hands to get this one off. The next step is to check the seal, and you're going to make sure that it has sunken in the middle. And when you pull on it with your fingers, that is not going to come off. Now, remember, this is still raspberries. You don't want to shake this jar around too much. And the next step is to put the ring on it. And there's your first jar. Unlike dried items, fruit is going to get condensation inside the container. Now, it's not going to be a problem with this container because I'm probably going to be eating it tomorrow. But the rest of these raspberries are going to be in my refrigerator for over a week. So I add some paper towel to absorb the extra moisture. Moisture is what's going to cause them to go bad quickly. All I do is trace the lid and then cut inside it a little bit. Now, I can't just set it on there because this is on the ridge of the jar. You actually have to push it down around your fruit so it's completely inside the jar. Then vacuum seal just like you did the other jar. You can see the paper towel just a little bit in there. Now, here's the trick. When you put it in your refrigerator, you're going to turn it upside down and put it on the shelf like that. That way the moisture is trapped down here at what's now the bottom of it. And if it ever gets to the point where you see that there's a lot of condensation in there, you just turn it over, open it up, take out that paper towel and put in another one. And in a few little minutes, I was able to do all of my raspberries, and now they go straight to the refrigerator. All right, next I have my blueberries. Although they're super big, they really don't look that great. I am so anxious to get our blueberries growing here. This time I'm going with a slightly larger jar. Although blueberries are not as moist as, say, raspberries or strawberries, I'm still going to put that barrier in there so that it will soak up some of the moisture so they stay fresh longer. Then I'm going to vacuum seal it the same way I did the raspberries. Just like the raspberries, I'm going to store this in my refrigerator upside down. And if it gets a lot of moisture on the inside, all I need to do is turn it over and replace the paper towel on top. For strawberries, it's extremely important that you don't let them get any moisture. You do not want to wash them, but you also want to make a concerted effort to make sure they stay dry. I simply fill my jar 1 berry at a time. Again, you don't want them to be smashed down in the bottom. I wish these strawberries were a little nicer, but it is just the beginning of April and it's difficult to find, especially organic, fresh strawberries. All right, same procedure, put the paper towel on top and then vacuum seal them. Now, in case if you're wondering why I put the paper towel on top and then turned it upside down, I used to put the paper towel on the bottom, and what would happen is, yes, all the moisture would go down, but I had to take all those strawberries out to replace the paper towel. So by doing it this way, it's much easier to get to the paper towel when it's time to switch it out. All right, the next thing that I'm going to vacuum seal is in fact salad, and I'm not going to show you how to make a tossed salad. But what I like to do is to take all of these things, wash them, clean them up, and make a huge salad. Once that salad is all mixed up, then I like to vacuum seal it. So I'm going to start chopping up vegetables. And even though your lettuce is obviously going to be wet and moist because you cannot get all the moisture out, what I try to do is get as much of it out as possible. And I do that by using my little vegetable spinner. So I'm going to wash all of my lettuce leaves and then cut them up into smaller pieces and then put it through the spinner. All right, I put in 2 different types of lettuce. Now I'm going to attach the lid and then spin it dry. I am always surprised how much water this thing will pull out. All right, and then you just strain it off. So all of that would have ended up as water inside your canning jar. So it's important to spin it off. If you don't have one of these nifty Cuisinart, I never knew how to say that. If you don't have one of these cute little salad spinners, what you can do is just lay it on paper towels or towels to dry. All right, I made a quick tossed salad. You'll notice that most of it is leafy greens, radishes, and carrots. I don't put tomatoes in a canning jar and vacuum seal them. I have not had a lot of luck with them. I think it just keeps them slimy. It doesn't seem to improve them. I'm going to fill up 2 half-gallon canning jars with my salad. Typically, I don't put a paper towel as a barrier. I have found that these salads will last at least a week and often a week and a half or more. And you vacuum seal it the same way you did all the others. And there you have it. I have vacuum sealed containers of salad, strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries. And I wanted to show you these raspberries. I put these in the refrigerator as soon as I vacuum sealed them, and then I went to go do our taxes. And when I've come back, they're already starting to get condensation. That is what happens when you seal fresh fruits or vegetables. You don't want that to happen on your shelf-stable items such as flour or crackers, but this is completely normal. If you're looking for ways to extend the best by date on your salads or your fruits, this is one of the best ways by vacuum sealing it and storing it in your refrigerator. That is key. Please do not say, oh, these are vacuum sealed, I can put them on my shelf. No, they must be refrigerated. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.